I saw a notification that a friend of mine sent me that 8 years ago today, there was a picture of me on Facebook out knocking doors for Representative Luann Van Werven, Vincent Bies, and Senator Doug Erickson. And 8 years later, though our world has changed, though we have gained and though we have lost, I was out all day today in the sun knocking doors. And when I think about that fact, I think about the legacy that we leave behind. That though Doug Erickson has passed away, his legacy continues. And it continues not because of me, but through all of you, through us, through our efforts to work together each and every day to make Whatcom County just a little bit better of a place for you and for your children and for your grandchildren. It is incumbent upon us to work and to save and to sacrifice, to put our energy and our efforts into making sure that we can hold on to this seat to represent not just our past, but to lead into our future as well. There's an old story about a guy who goes to talk to a doctor, and he goes to the doctor and he says, "Doctor, I'm dying. Everything I touch hurts." He goes to the doctor and he touches his arm, and he says, "It hurts." He goes and he touches his leg, says, "Oh, my leg hurts." He touches his head. He said, "Oh, my head hurts. I'm dying." The doctor looks at him, he says, "You're not dying, your finger's broken." In Olympia, that's our problem. Our problem is not necessarily our lack of answers, it's the prescription to our problem. The answers and the ideas that we have coming out of Olympia have not been productive for the people of Whatcom County. A $16 billion budget surplus and not a single penny of it towards any type of tax relief. Laws that handicap our law enforcement and make it more and more unsafe for us every single day here in Whatcom County. A state of emergency that continues on, declared by one person in one branch of government without any legislative oversight or approval. And even though the emergency seems to have faded, the powers from the governor's office have not been given away. These things affect us. They affect our way of life, and they affect our future. These campaigns can be grueling. From early on in January in the snow, to a very rainy season, and now in the hot sun, people from all across this county, from all walks of life, young and old, rich and poor, black and white, women and men, have been part of this movement, part of a cause larger than themselves. And they do so because they recognize that even though our stories are different, our destinies are shared. And though we may have come from different places, though there are those of you in the audience where your great-grandparents have been here, you may be a homesteader originally, or you may have gotten here only a few decades ago or a few years ago. All of us come from so many circles of life, and yet we are here because we believe in this process. I know that we're in a grueling election cycle, but it is, I think, important for us to remember just how special of a thing going on here right now. That for the vast majority of human history, what we're doing here right now was actually a very odd thing. For people to gather together in VFW halls and churches and parks and cities and city halls all across the country. To sit on benches and pull out lawn chairs to listen to what their elected leaders believe. That's actually a very unique thing in the long course of human history. And it shows that as dark as the world may seem, as great as our challenges are, there are still people who care. And people who care for their community can change it and can improve it in incredible ways.